Beloved star, welcome. Welcome to Immortal Star Pod, episode 63. As I keep saying, soon to become Elven Pod. That is what it is, underneath and always and through. And there's a longer metamorphosis underway. And this one I record at the Ostara Equinox Stargate and share some of the beautiful, beautiful energy coming through the elven realms and dimensions of return, the lands, and also very much through the Pleiadian energies at this time, and sharing a little more about this moon, which the elven name the Primrose moon in the cycles of light. And this follows, as I've spoken, the star magnolia moon, which is the moon of the aura, has been the moon of the aura. Forgive me for repetitions, but I love to just catch up the layers each time. The snowdrop moon was January, and that was that as innermost essence, coming back to our core. And then from there, emanating and building and projecting forth the beauty of the hologram of the aura, of our true aura, containing the immortal starlight codes of all that you are, true presence. And all of this being the precondition for our next phase of co-creation at a truer level of self than ever before, carried by the current of who we truly are. It's like peeling back the layers of the onion. We get more and more true, able to be true, less and less in the veil of the layers of protection built around ourselves, those that are, even our spiritual layers, beautiful energies, ways of seeing, feeling, expressing, relating, that they're beautiful, but you can feel underneath it that there's an even truer, closer layer to all that you are, somehow that beautiful rippling tide of the infinite, of the eternal, of the immortal starlight, of the true awareness you're carrying, the true consciousness. And I think there's a deep longing in so many of us to engage from there, that is the ground that we walk from. We know that is what the dawn is calling us toward, to do what we're truly here to do, to be present at that level and to co-create, to interconnect from that level of ourselves. And it is that which is continuously unveiling itself. We're coming ever more into this, ever more deeply present in that shimmering truth and immortal starlight of who we are, that Christ light, that crystalline light. And of course, in the deepest space of ourselves, returning to that presencing, walking with the light of the one who we are, and then correspondingly able to be that way within the hologram of the reality we walk within our relationships, within our work, within our family, our world. And that is the most beautiful fulfillment of our calling, which is to express as that which we are. Express the beauty of which we are, the true blossoming of that beauty here and now, simply for no sake other than love alone, to be that presencing. And I've been very, very deep within the kota of White Reindeer Woman, as I've been sharing the aspect of my own avatar and soul star consciousness, an ancient aspect and yet timeless, star-seeded long since of the earth, walking the wise ways of earth and the ways of that interdimensional earth walk of the elven light, the elven remembrance, the elven creation here, and literally the blossoming of those elven star flowers of other worlds upon this earth, of the trees rising, of that dimensionality of that which we are truly in unfoldment through our hands, our hearts, presencing here and now. And White Reindeer Woman is the aspect of my own avatar and soul star consciousness that last walked the earth in this remembrance, this way. And what's so fascinating is that she is teaching me. She is simultaneously an aspect of myself and a guide at this time that I'm experiencing very deeply, as though retraining my soul and psyche returning to me piece by piece. It's like an initiation that I walk again in the remembering. And it's so interesting because at each layer I really feel I'm learning that which I already know, and yet there's been a veil over it. And it's the most extraordinary gift to still. And my own way of that stilling is it's quite simple. I come to my sacred space, and just the place I am now, my altar's just beside me here, where I sit, and take up my drum and light the candle, like the sage and sweetgrass. Palo Santo, I've been a lot recently within this room. Very, very simple. And lighting the candle, and the crystals of the silver wheel and the golden wheel are upon the altar, and drumming and going into that deep interconnected heart transmission with her. I always attune first to the heartbeat of the earth, the immortal celestial heartbeat of the earth, and from there attuning, being in her presence, White Reindeer Woman, and relearning, being retaught again. It's a lot of what I can see I already do, I already am, but as they say, there's a different level of remembering when it comes into full, simple, conscious mastery. And I think for many of us, our interdimensional gifts do return in a very mysterious way, and we just start doing or able to do or be things. And it then is the following work of perhaps years to really understand it, to become so deeply present within that the awareness becomes fully conscious and embodied as full wisdom again. And so those sequencings of what can come in again as, your Starlight language, for instance, might begin to come through you as a great mystery. The way the consciousness of that which you are sounds and moves through you. So mysterious, and yet over time, as you remain true and stilling within that, will begin to deliver itself as full, clear, remembered wisdom. It's almost as though the codes come in so full, multidimensionally, in the quantum field, these light orbs, gifts, light packages, restoring, coming in through us, landing with us. And then as though we get to still into that, and you begins to unpack, and there are almost as though spaces between the information, you're able to begin feeling into, stilling into more clearly all of what that contains, what that is, who you are. And I believe as we fully become those elders and wayshowers of the dawn, that's very much the process. And interestingly, there are two ways traditionally it's always been said that shamans initiate or become. And one is the way of remembering through ceremony, through the human ceremonial guides and teachers and shamans of your tribe, or the teachers you're drawn to, and you're gifted. You are gifted to hold the ceremonies, taught them the ways, and that's how you remember shamanically your gifts and go forward to share that. And I've been so drawn to that in this lifetime. And every time I try to walk that path, it dissolves under my feet, because mine is the other way, which is also traditionally documented as a traditional way for shamans, which is those who learn directly from their spirit guides. It's a process that sets off within, and a direct communing with those invisible aspects of self and of your lineage of light. And both paths contain different gifts and different challenges, and neither is better than the other. But I know that for me, the core of the way I share is also one of my big questions to my own soul star and human expression here, is because that for me is so very much the way. That's what I most long to, how to facilitate and hold space, create space for that way to happen for others. Not so much to be their teacher and guide, yes, but in order to support that learning from within, that accessing, being able to still into, because while all of it can come through in one great quantum wave, and it's the work of really stilling into that, I do believe does take place over days, weeks, months, years, as we relearn, we remember from and as ourselves. and really become those elders, those wisdom keepers, those record keepers, those way showers. So that's always one of my questions of crafting the spaces that I hold, is how to craft sacred space for that process to take place, because I'm so passionate for that, because I know the challenge of it, how alone it can feel, or invisible. That's why so often I've dived into, tried to enter into, say a training or something that holds a tradition or has more form, and thought, oh, it'd be so beautiful to be held by that, to have that something so visible and structured. And that there have been things I've been able to engage with, but whenever I try to make them kind of the main layer, it's like there are too many layers in me. It gets way too complex, because I get there's such a specific process that is underway in this innermost remembering, that I can't really lay anything very much over that. It's such a fullness of return that is taking place through the ancient and timeless self for this lifetime. And I love it. I think it's Alana Fairchild in one of her oracles. It's the one I really love. What's the name? I think it's the Kuan Yin. I love her. She's got a wild Kuan Yin, which is the Tibetan, and there's it's just beautiful, beautiful, that one. But it's also the other one, which in one of the cards, is it the Star Blossom Sisters? I wish I could remember. It's one of these, and she speaks of the cumulative, that this is a cumulative lifetime, where many lifetimes, the gifts of many lifetimes converge. So we find ourselves remembering and receiving so much of who we are. We're so prepared, we're so ready. And that can be bewildering to experience that, and to learn. It's really a journey to learn to trust ourselves. But as I've learned, it's if I try to create something else in order to trust myself, feel well, because I do feel enormous respect for the very real elders walking this earth. I love to stand with them, to learn with them. And yet it's it's another way, it's another path in this lifetime for me to such a great extent. And I certainly do have human teachers, and have had, but not to the extent that it ever overlays this process of literally that ancient and that elder light within, restoring, returning, relayering back in, coming back here as this one who I am. And as I say, this has long been one of the traditional shamanic pathways, but it is one, as I say, that has its own challenges as well as its own gifts. And so for me, the simplicity, it is founded in simplicity, really, to sit before my altar or to walk in nature and to sit with her just as I would with a human teacher, to sit with her, to listen, to let her speak to me, which is where the gift of a writer is so great, because I can actually, it really helps me to transcribe her words, because as she speaks has such a vibrational resonance. There's always such a specific pattern to the way that she delivers the information and the teachings. And so the gift of the writer is being able to write that down. And I know some people will voice record, so that I can really gather that up. And just as you would a human teacher sitting there right before you, to be able to reflect on those words and come back to them over and over again. Because the way of wisdom isn't just sort of giving endlessly more and more information. So often it is something simple, and your teacher will say the same thing to you, your guide, this aspect of you, of your soul star, of your greater self, the same message over and over again, until we suddenly realize, the parts of us that want to be entertained by something different, like, oh, maybe I'll actually do that now and give that a go. And you do that and you realize it gifts so much that all was there in that one simple piece of guidance. So yeah, I'm very much with that process. And for me, really, that's the meaning of this blossoming of the primrose moon, is to, coming back to this, how would I love to share? I did say I'd speak of this, and I've more gone into that that story. So let me just feel into where they connect, and how to close the pod. Kenanara tanetiera then. Nana Yaratien. Yeah. Okay, so the energy of the primrose moon is so much about our co-creation. It's, as I said, the star magnolia is that auric formation. So that's the light of our cumulative aeons, lifetimes, worlds, dimensions of preparation that, that gathers into this now moment. We're receiving so much of ourselves in this lifetime. And the auric field is full of these codes. So that's all part of that white reindeer woman thing and piece. But coming now to the primrose moon, that this brings me back to the trust. As we're called to co-creation, so our beautiful holographic aura forms. The aura in the primrose moon fuses with the golden, holy, enchanted lands of the new earth. We're called into co-creation. We're called to go into our magical journey. Who will you co-create with? I spoke in the last pod about that. You might want to look back to that. There's a signature note. We're co-creating through I am presence, through innermost essence. To trust that one who you are, not to put them aside. To trust that your co-creation comes from this light of the one who you are, of that multidimensional essence, of that ancient and timeless one who you are, that is the one called forth to co-create. You might worry, am I being arrogant or delusional, or is it time yet? I've been preparing for so long, or do I trust this? But I can promise you that is the light that will be most miraculously supported. You'll experience the deepest balance, well-being, health, power, beauty, miraculous serendipity, synchronicity, quantum divine, miraculous response within the field when you show up as this one. When you enter the encounter, when you interfuse with the golden, holy, enchanted lands of the new earth as this one. Yeah, to trust this one who you are as you come into this time now of interconnection, that's the ground you stand upon, that's the place you interconnect from. So much love. May this pod 63 be a blessing to you in the journey you are upon. Whatever seed stars within this have ignited some part of the light of that which you are returning for this dawn, that bandwave that we're really, really supporting, this octave of our becoming in the now. I Arakyan Osarathyan. So much love, and I shall see you soon. Kiana Tatyan.